everyone, this is One Sassy Zebra. I doubt you can see my face. This is kind of a weird angle to cook with, but this is what I got. So I'm going to be making another Instapot meal for you guys. The last one seemed pretty popular. And this is also going to be dairy-free and wheat-free. It's going to be fairly low sugar, everything except the pineapple. So if you want to omit the pineapple, you certainly could and just be a fried rice. So um, yeah, so I'll start off. I did a lot of the prep work ahead of time. I chopped up all my vegetables, my green pepper and my onions. I have my pineapple here, and I got my barbecue pork. Now you can use any meat you want. You can use chicken, you can use shrimp. Um, my husband really likes Spam. He's kind of weird. Um, but Spam's a good alternative for truck drivers that can get it on the road. I have my carrots here. I have my bacon, and I have my 1 day old rice, and I went ahead and chopped my green onions in here already and kind of stirred this up into it as well. And when you're cooking bacon, I like to save the bacon grease, and I use it for cooking other things. So always save your bacon grease. And I have uh, all my spices laid out for what I'm going to need, and I'll go through that as well. So I have my salt and pepper grinder here. I have my toasted sesame oil. Now you can get toasted sesame oil, and you can get untoasted sesame oil. I have both, but today we're going to be using toasted sesame oil. I'll show you the difference in color. The toasted sesame oil is a lot darker than the toasted sesame oil. Here's the untoasted. It almost looks like soybean oil or vegetable oil. One thing to note about sesame oil is they like to blend it to make it a lot cheaper. They usually blend it with like a soybean oil. So if you're allergic to soy, keep that in mind. And if you look for it in grocery stores and it's pretty cheap, most likely it's a blended oil. So keep that in mind. And the next thing I have over here is the crushed red chili peppers. I decided to use this simply because a lot of people can't find the Thai red bird chilies. I do have some, but I decided to use this in my recipe instead of Thai red bird chilies. If you do have Thai red bird chilies, go ahead and use 1 to 2 Thai red bird chilies. If you do not like heat, go ahead and omit it. So I have this Thai sweet basil. I grow my own Thai sweet basil. You can get Thai sweet basil in any Asian grocery store. Um, and so, otherwise, if you can't find Thai sweet basil, just go ahead and omit it. Regular basil is not a substitute, unfortunately. Onion powder. Um, you can also use onion granules. If you do not like the taste of onion, just use a little bit less. You can also, if you're not allergic to garlic, go ahead and add garlic to this recipe as well, but I am allergic to garlic. I'm going ahead and use lime salt. If you don't have lime salt, just go ahead and use regular salt. I just like to add my specialty lime salt to this recipe, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. I have my hot curry powder. If you do not like spicy curry powder, don't worry about it. Just use regular curry powder. You can go ahead and pick up regular curry powder at any store, Walmart, Safeway, anywhere. What makes this recipe really good is fish sauce. You can find fish sauce anywhere. Walmart, Safeway, any local grocery store should have fish sauce now. Don't be afraid to use this, but a word to the wise, um, do not tip this over. Do not let this leak in your truck, or really anywhere. The stuff will make your room stink. So it is pretty pungent, but don't be afraid to use this. It has a really nice salty flavor. Once again, I will be using ginger juice. It gives us a really nice fresh ginger flavor. Make sure you shake it really well. This stuff does settle to the bottom. And if you do have fresh ginger, go ahead and just chop up about a teaspoon of fresh ginger into your rice. Soy sauce. So I'm not using regular soy sauce because I am allergic to gluten and wheat. So I'm using Braggs Liquid Aminos. Now you can go ahead and use Tamari. I do have Tamari, but I really like the flavor of Braggs Liquid Aminos. So that's what I'm using today. But if you are not allergic to wheat, go ahead and use regular soy sauce. And you can find Braggs at Walmart, I think, now. And I think they also have regular Tamari too. And okay, so I wanted to go over some of these rices I found. And if you don't have pre-cooked rice in your fridge, I found some of these rices that were really handy to keep around, especially if you're a truck driver. So the first three are from Tasty Bites. The first one is basmati, and this is really great for like Indian dishes, but you could also use it for stir fries. The next one is a brown rice. So if you want a chewier fried rice, this is also really great. Or if you want something with more fiber, or if you're diabetic, this is also really great because it has a lot of fiber in it. So really, really good stuff. And the next one is a jasmine rice. So this is really classic for fried rice dishes, especially for Thai dishes as well. This is my favorite, of course. They also have a Thai brown rice, I believe. So if you want a brown jasmine rice. So if you still like jasmine rice, but you're trying to be healthier or you want more fiber in it, you can pick that up as well. Now, if you're looking for a different brand or you can't find it, I found these other two as well. The first one I'll talk about is Tilda. It's the pure basmati. This is a little bit harder to find, but it is a really good basmati. The Tasty Bites, I notice it's easier to find. They usually carry them at Walmart. So that's what this one looks like. This does take 2 minutes, where the Tasty Bites only take 90 seconds in the microwave. So this does take a little bit longer. And the next one, this one's a jasmine rice. It's Thai Ham Malai. And I think this one is also just 90 seconds in the microwave. And I think this one tastes a little bit better than the Tasty Bites. I'm not sure why. It just tastes a little bit fresher to me. So if you are able to find this one, I highly recommend this one over the Tasty Bites. And I believe it's a little bit cheaper if I'm not mistaken. So, okay. So now that I have all my mise en place done, we will start the Instapot cooking.
Ready to cook here. So now the first thing you want to do is turn on the Instapot, and we're going to be using the saute feature here, and it's really easy. Just turn it on and put it on the more, and if you don't already have it on the more, just push the plus sign here, and you're going to hear a beep, and that will signal it's on. And it's going to take about 3 minutes to heat up typically for the saute, and you only have about 30 minutes to saute here, but it's no problem because 30 minutes will be plenty sufficient for this fried rice. It should only take you about 15 minutes to cook the fried rice, actually probably less. Now I'm going to be putting in bacon grease here. Now I pre-cooked this bacon, and you'll want to cook your 4 strips of bacon and save all the grease here. Now it only takes 4 strips of bacon. Pre-cook the bacon in your Instapot and save your grease. Now I did about a tablespoon of bacon grease here, and put the bacon grease in here. And then you'll want to throw in your vegetables. Now, if you're going to be doing different meats than I am, like chicken or beef or lamb or pork, and it's in a raw state, you are going to be throwing this in before your vegetables. Please throw in any raw meats that you are going to be sauteing in before you brown your vegetables, okay? So now I'm going to be throwing in my vegetables to brown before I throw in my rice. So I threw in my carrots. Now I chopped in all my vegetables beforehand. Now this was 1 carrot I chopped up. Now I sliced all my vegetables fairly thin. And now I'm throwing in my 1 onion. Like I said, I pre-chopped all my vegetables. And I'm going to be sauteing up my 1 carrot and my 1 onion together. And I'm just going to be giving this a quick stir. And this won't take too long to brown here, and I just cooked this to actually about translucent. And now I'm going to be throwing in my green pepper here, and it only takes about 1 bell pepper. And if you have red bell pepper or yellow, just whatever you got handy in your fridge. The one nice thing about fried rices here is just kind of like clean out your fridge. So it's just kind of what you got in hand. It's kind of like a one dish meal. Clean out your fridge. It's kind of like soups, you know. It's just whatever you got on hand. If you got broccoli, throw that in. If you got peas, throw that in as well. Cauliflower goes well. If you got cauliflower instead of rice, that's great too. Rice that up. You don't need rice. You can use cauliflower instead. In fact, I can show you guys my wonderful low carb version of this sometime. So I will be sauteing that up really nicely brown. And so if you guys have any questions on any alternatives, what you guys can be using, please don't hesitate to ask, because there is some many great alternatives to this dish. All right, so I will let this saute, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've been sauteing this for a while, and now I'm going to be adding my 1 can, 20 ounces of chopped pineapple here. And I'm going to be cooking this down as well. I keep about 1 tablespoon of juice as well. You don't want to add any more juice than that, because it will really make your rice really gluey and sticky. But I like to keep a little bit of juice just to help caramelize all the vegetables, and also keep all the spices, kind of just help mix it in. And it's just really easy to combine like the curry powder and the onion powder and get that all nice and melded together. So that's kind of why I like to keep about a tablespoon of juice. Now, like I said about the pineapple and the diabetes, you don't have to use pineapple in this fried rice recipe. You can totally omit it and make this healthier for the diabetic side of things. So you can totally omit it. That is totally acceptable, and just make it a regular fried rice instead of a pineapple fried rice. That's totally fine. So next I'm going to be adding my 4 strips of bacon. You can certainly add more. That is totally up to you. And give that a quick stir. And I will also be adding in my barbecue pork. That's what I had on hand at the time, so that's what I'm adding. I added about 8 ounces of barbecue pork. You can also add more meat to this as well to bulk it up. As a diabetic, I try to eat as much protein. Also, with my gastroparesis, I also try to eat as much protein as well because I never get enough protein in my diet. Most of my gastroparesis is loaded with carbohydrates because I don't feel very good, so the only thing I want to eat is carbs. So if you notice in most of my recipes, it is a little bit carb heavy, which is not good for my diabetes, but hey, what can you do? So I try to get as much protein as I can, but unfortunately it doesn't always work out that way. So but if you're a big meat eater, add as much meat as you'd like. I try to just give you guys a guideline, and you can tweak it how you like it. So, but this is a great recipe that is a good clean out your fridge recipe. If you have ham, throw that in. If you have Spam, throw that in. If you have canned chicken, great. This is a great recipe for RVers and campers that have a lot of canned products. It's great to throw all that stuff in, and it still turns out wonderful. So you won't even miss it. Now I'm throwing in my curry powder. It's about 4 tablespoons. The more curry powder you add, the spicier it will become. So if you want less, add less. And now the crushed red chili powder. I'm adding in about a teaspoon or so. It's kind of to taste. So if you want it spicy, add more. If you don't want it spicy, don't add it at all. It is completely up to you. This is your meal. So make it how you want to eat it. If your family doesn't like any spice, don't add it. That's how I cook. Now I'm adding the onion powder. I say about one good tablespoon. I added more like 2 tablespoons. I can't have garlic, so I like to add a lot of onion powder to recipes to make it really flavorful. You guys can add garlic to the recipes if you guys aren't allergic to garlic. This is now a good time to add it. If you guys have garlic powder, if you guys are using fresh garlic, add it in when you are sauteing the vegetables. Now I'm adding in the soy sauce. I forgot to show you guys the fish sauce. I also added in fish sauce at this point too, and I added about 3 teaspoons. And this was the ginger juice. I added about a teaspoon of ginger juice. If you guys had fresh ginger, I would have added fresh ginger at the point you guys were stir frying your vegetables. Anything fresh, try to do it while you're doing stir frying vegetables or your meat. I added my sweet Thai basil. I gave about a good teaspoon or 2, depending upon how much flavor you like. You cannot substitute regular basil, unfortunately. If you do not have it, don't add it. Fresh is better. I grow my own sweet Thai basil, but in the wintertime, I don't have it. So, unfortunately, this is the wintertime. So, this is toasted sesame oil. This is kind of to taste. I added probably about a teaspoon. This is very pungent, and it's kind of a preference thing. I didn't add it to my list because not everybody likes it. and it's not traditional in Thai fried rice. So I did not add it to my recipe. I just really enjoy it, and so does my family, but it is not traditionally in this recipe. So I did not include it in my recipe. So, and it also helps to get it to stop from sticking on the bottom too. And if you are having trouble at this point with it sticking, just add a little bit of coconut oil or avocado oil just to the bottom. And it will help it to stop sticking. But you shouldn't have a problem with it sticking until you add the rice in. The rice is where you're going to have a problem with it sticking, and at that point you're going to want to add just a little bit more oil in, and you're going to want to add an oil that is non-flavored. And like I said, you're going to want to add like a peanut oil if you're not allergic to nuts, and or vegetable oil or something non-flavored. So, and I'm just going to continue to stir this and incorporate all the spices and yummy herbs that and sauces that I just put in here, and make sure it's well incorporated before you add the rice. And I did this instead of adding my rice first because it is hard to incorporate all the curry powders and sauce mixtures after you add the rice. So anyways, I'll just keep stirring this up, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, now we're going to be adding the rice, and you're going to want to make sure you break up the rice before you add it in. In fact, I didn't do a very good job here. And I also stirred in the green onions into the rice before I added it in. It's just a little bit easier to work with here. So stir it in really well. You're going to have to kind of work with the rice kind of quickly here. And make sure you put in a little bit more oil into the bottom before you put the rice in, so it doesn't stick to the bottom here, and just kind of work quickly, and just keep stirring quickly and in hopes that it doesn't stick to the bottom. And if you're a truck driver, I'm sorry if it does stick to the bottom. It just takes some practice here, and I would try this recipe when you know you're going to have a little bit of time to clean your Instapot, because if you're not used to cooking in the Instapot and you do burn the bottom, you're going to want to be at a place where you can clean it. So just a little word of warning, this is a little bit hard of a recipe to clean out of the bottom of the Instapot. So I just wanted to let you guys know ahead of time. So just kind of give it a quick stir. One thing you guys can add to it, if you're not allergic to eggs and you want to beef up the protein content, you guys can add an egg, and now would be the time to add it. You'd want to clear off the sides and kind of make a little divot like in the middle, and scramble an egg in the towards the bottom of the Instapot and scramble it really good, and then you can mix it through your rice. My husband really likes to do that, and it really adds nice protein content to your fried rice, and he just tries to add as much protein as he can to this fried rice, seeing how he is a diabetic, and it does add also some nice flavor. So he says, seeing how I am allergic to eggs, so I can't try it, but he really likes to do that. And like I said, he loves teriyaki Spam in this recipe, so that is his favorite to add. So I am going to keep stirring this, and I will show you the finished product after I am done.
Okay, and here's what it looks like at the end. You can garnish it with crispy fried shallots, and don't forget to add in your cilantro once it's done cooking. You can garnish it with more cilantro on top. And here is the finished product. And that is your pineapple fried rice. I can't wait to dig in. That is One Sassy Zebra. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye.